So welcome back po sa aking accounting video lectures. On this video, pag-uusapan natin ang investment in associates part 2. So sa part 1, I presented to you a practice questions at pinag-usapan din natin ang mga concepts about investment in associates. Dito sa part 2, ang gagawin natin ay isosolve natin ang practice questions and then we will apply all the concepts na pinag-usapan natin sa video lecture of the investment in associates part 1. So balikan natin ang ating practice questions. At ito yan. So ito na nga ang ating practice questions. So sa questions na ito, this is a straightforward questions. Ang ibig sabihin is kung ano yung mga concept ng investment in associate, i-apply lang natin yung mga concepts na yon dito sa practice questions na ito. Merong mga questions kasi na merong twist. Ang ibig sabihin, bago mo makuha yung answer sa requirements, kailangan mong i-squeeze ang mga amount bago mo makuha yung requirements ng question. So, itong practice questions natin na ito, straightforward lang ito kung saan i-apply lang natin yung mga concepts na mapag-aaralan natin. Let's start on reading these practice questions and then habang binabasa natin ang questions na ito, ina-identify natin ang mga terms na kailangan nating intindihin. So on January 1, year 1, that's our transaction date, Crunch Company purchased 25% of the outstanding ordinary shares. So, si Crunch Company, siya ang investor natin. Purchase 25%. Crunch Company, who is our investor, ang 25%, yan po ang ating equity interest or ang tinatawag na ownership interest of the outstanding ordinary shares of an investee. So, bumili siya ng ordinary shares ng investee, ng corporations. The corporation is called the investee. Remember, we have two kinds of shares. We have the ordinary shares at preferred shares. Paying 20 million. The 20 million is the acquisition cost of this investment, of this ordinary share. So, acquisition cost, ang 20 million na binayad ni Crunch kay investee. When the carrying amount of the net assets of the investee equal to 60 million. So, ano ba yung 60 million? 60 million, yan po yung halaga ng buong equity ni investee. So, ano ba ang ibig sabihin ng carrying amount? At ano ba ang ibig sabihin ng net assets? When the carrying amount of the net assets of the invest equal to 60 million. So, sa record ni investee, ang equity ni investee ay 60 million. The difference was attributed to building which had a carrying amount, CA means carrying amount of 10 million and fair market value of 15 million. And to an inventories with carrying amount of 5 million and a fair market value of 8 million. And a land with a carrying amount of 15 million and a fair market value of 20 million. Itong building, inventories, and the land, these are the identifiable assets. And the remaining useful life of the building is 10 years. Kailangan natin ang remaining life ng mga depreciable assets na na-identify natin. The inventory was all sold during the current year. The investee reported a net income of 16 million at the end of the year and paid 1 million of dividend during the current year. Ito yung mga posibleng requirements dito sa practice questions na ito. Kung magkano ang investment income ni investor at the end of the year. O kung magkano ang carrying amount ng investment in associates na account. At pwede ring itanong sa problem na ito ang goodwill or the excess of cost over the carrying amount. Yeah. So, to solve this problem, mag-uumpisa tayo sa acquisition cost. Crunch Company purchased 25% of the outstanding ordinary shares of an invest paying 20 million. So, ang acquisition cost natin ay 20 million. And remember, ang acquisition cost na ika-capitalize natin sa ating investment account ay ang purchase price plus our direct transaction cost. From the acquisition cost, ima-minus po natin carrying amount of the net asset of the investee. At ang carrying amount of the net assets ay 60 million. Pero si investor, hindi niya binili lahat. Ang pinurchase lang niya ay 25%. So, the 25% of the 60 million. And that's equal to 15 million. So, ano ang 5 million? Ang 5 million, yan po ang ating excess of cost over the carrying amount. Excess of cost, yung sobra sa cost mo over the carrying amount of the net assets. Alright? So, anong gagawin natin dito sa 5 million? I-attribute po natin itong 5 million sa mga identifiable assets kung saan ang fair market value ay mas mataas kaysa sa carrying amount. Meron tayong tatlong identifiable assets sa practice questions na ito. Ito yung building, yung inventories, at saka yung land. So, ganito nga po ang gagawin natin sa excess of cost over the carrying amount of the net asset. Itong carrying amount of the net assets, yan po yung naka-record sa investees books. And as an accountant, mag-identify tayo ng mga assets kung saan mas mataas ang kanilang fair market value kaysa sa carrying amount of those assets. So, on this practice questions, meron tayong tatlong identifiable assets na ang kanilang fair market value ay mas mataas pa. One of these assets ay ito nga pong building na merong carrying amount na 10 million. Ang fair market value ng building na yan ay 15 million according to the practice questions. Therefore, merong difference na 5 million. So, yung 5 million na yun, hindi naman 100% ang ating pinurchase sa investee. Ang pinurchase lang natin ay 25%. Then, we will multiply this 5 million by 25%. Yung equity interest lang ni Crunch Company. Then, we get 1,250,000. Ganun din po sa inventories. Sa inventories, mayroong carrying amount of 5 million at mayroong fair market value na 8 million. So, ang difference nila ay 3 million. We multiply that by the 25% equity interest ni Crunch Company. So, we get 750,000. Ima-minus din na pa rin natin yan. Then, we have the land with a carrying amount of 15 million pero ang fair market value niya ay 20 million. So, ang difference ay 5 million times the 25% equity interest ni Crunch Company. Kung titignan mo, lahat itong fair market value, this is 3,250,000. The excess of cost over carrying amount sa lahat ng na-identify natin na asset, lahat yan ay mapupunta na sa goodwill. Sa mga problems, pwedeng itanong sa'yo ang excess of cost over carrying amount of the net asset. Ito ang answer mo. Ay pwede rin syempre itanong ang amount ng goodwill. Ano naman itong tinatawag nilang excess of net fair value over the cost? Isusulat ko lahat ng mga formulas natin dito and then we will have the same problem pero magkaiba ang acquisition cost natin. And titignan natin kung anong mangyayari. This is another scenario para ma-emphasize ko sa'yo kung ano ba ang ibig sabihin ng excess of net fair value over cost. Let's say for example, ang acquisition cost instead na in-acquire ni Crunch Company or ni investor ng 20 million, let's say for example, in-acquire lang niya ng 18 million. Ang excess of cost over carrying amount natin this time is 3 million. Alright, same scenario as what we have on our practice questions kung saan i-attribute natin ito sa mga identifiable assets natin kung saan ang kanilang mga fair market value ay magkaiba sa kanilang carrying amount. So kung titingnan mo itong i-attribute natin na fair market value, this is 3,250,000. Pero ang excess of cost over carrying amount natin is 3 million. So ang ibig sabihin, nagkaroon ng mas mataas ang fair market value kesa sa ating excess of cost over the carrying amount na 250,000. On this scenario, meron tayong excess of net fair value over the cost. So, anong gagawin natin dito sa 250,000? Pag-uusapan natin yan in a little bit. So, ang next na gagawin natin after our calculations of the goodwill, gagawin natin ang journal entries naman tayo ngayon. So, on January 1st, which is the transaction date, ang magiging entry natin nung in-acquire ni Crunch Company ang 20 million na investment niya is debit to investment in associates of 20 million and credit to cash of 20 million. So, anong gagawin natin sa mga na-identify natin na mga asset kung saan ang kanilang fair market value ay magkaiba sa carrying amount sa books ni investee? So, ang gagawin natin dito sa building na 1,250,000 dahil depreciable asset ang building, i-amortize natin yan over the remaining life of the asset. In this practice questions, ang building, meron siyang remaining life of 10 years. So, itong 1,250,000 should be amortized over 10 years. At ang gagawin naman natin dito sa ating inventories, kapag nabenta na siya, i-expense na natin. Expense when sold. At ang gagawin din natin dito sa land, yung kanyang 1,250,000 na na-identify natin, expense din yan kapag nabenta yan ni investee. Itong excess of cost over carrying amount, wala tayong entry dyan, okay? Kinukuha lang natin yan para ma-calculate natin kung magkano, kung meron man tayong goodwill or meron tayong excess of net fair value over cost. So, yung goodwill amount na 1,750,000, nandun pa rin sa 20 million sa kanyang account na investment in associates, okay? Hindi natin sineseparate yung goodwill amount na yan. Itong goodwill amount na 1 million, nakalagay pa rin sa 20 million. As an accountant, at the end of the year, kapag mag-prepare ka na as an accountant ng financial statement ni investor, ano ang gagawin mo sa mga amounts na ito? Ganito ang magiging entries natin sa books ni Crunch Company. Okay, so pag-usapan naman natin ang journal entries at adjusting entries natin dito sa practice questions na ito. So, on the transaction date, on January 1, year 1, ang magiging entry natin nung pinurchase ni Crunch Company itong 25% outstanding ordinary shares of an investee paying 20 million. Ang entry natin dyan ay debit to investment in associates of 20 million and credit to cash of 20 million. At the end of the year, kapag ikaw na accountant, mag-prepare ka na ng financial statements, meron kang magiging adjusting entries. According to the practice questions, the investee reported a net income of 16 million at the end of the year. So, anong mangyayari sa investment ni investor dito sa investment in associates where we use equity method? Itong net income ni investee, merong share si investor doon according to their equity interest. On December 31st, at the end of the year, kapag mag-prepare na tayo ng financial statement, So, ang ating entry sa share niya sa income ni investee ay debit to investment in associates na 4 million, which is calculated as 16 million yung buong kinita ni investee multiplied by the equity interest ni Crunch Company. We got 4 million. Then we credit investment income of 4 million. Yan ang magiging entry natin sa share niya sa net income ni investee. Meron pa tayong mga adjustments na gagawin. According to the practice question, the investee paid 1 million dividend during the current year. Our entry on the dividends na binigay ni investee sa mga investor ay so, ang treatment natin sa dividend decreased on the investment account ni investor. Bakit? Kasi equity method na ang ginagamit natin sa investment in associates. Ang ibig sabihin ng equity method, kung ano ang effect ng equity sa part ni investee, yun din ang effect niya sa investment account ni investor. Kung nag-i-increase ang equity dahil nagkaroon ng net income, nag-i-increase din ang investment account ni investor. Kapag nag-decrease ang equity ni investee dahil nagbigay siya ng dividend, nag-decrease din ang investment account ni investor. Yan ang accounting treatments under equity method. At equity method ang ginagamit natin sa investment in associates. So, itong 250,000, that is calculated as another adjusting entries na gagawin natin. Yung mga identifiable assets natin na land, inventories, at saka building. Magkakaroon tayo ng adjusting entries at the end of the year. Umpisa natin sa ating building. So, yung building na yun, meron tayong 1,250,000 na i-amortize over the remaining life of that building. So, yung building na yun, meron pa siyang remaining life of 10 years. So, ang adjusting journal entry natin sa pag-amortize natin ng building na yun is ating adjusting journal entry, we debit our investment income of 125,000. We credit our investment in associates na account na 125,000. So, nagdi-decrease ang ating investment incomes and nagdi-decrease din ang ating investment in associates na account from the amortizations of the excess of the fair value over the carrying amount ng building. Another adjusting entry na gagawin natin is yung inventories na binenta na ni investee sa taon na yon. At ang ating adjusting journal entry for the inventories na binenta ni investee ay debit to investment income of 750,000 dahil nabenta niya na niya lahat yon. Yung 750,000 ay aalisin na rin natin. So, our adjusting journal entry is debit to investment income of 750,000 and credit to investment in associates of 750,000. So, ganito po ang ating magiging journal entries and adjusting entries at the end of the year. So, para makuha natin ang carrying amount ang naiiwan doon sa ating investments in associates na account, ganito gagawin natin. So, ipaplug lang natin kung anong effect niya sa ating investment in associates na account. So, mag-uumpisa tayo sa acquisition cost ng investment. Then, nag-increase ang ating investment in associates dahil sa net income ni investee. Nag-decrease tayo dahil nagbigay ng dividend si investee. Then, nag-decrease ulit tayo sa amortization ng ating building. Then, nagbawas ulit tayo nung ibinenta na lahat yung mga inventories. So, ang ending balance natin ng account ng investment in associates ay So, meron tayong ending balance sa ating account na investment in associates na 20,875,000. At ang investment income account naman natin ay ganito. Ang ating investment income for the year naman ay 3,125,000. Sa pag-calculate investment income, ay mag-uumpisa ka sa share on the net income. Doon mo na ima-minus kung ano man yung mga adjustments natin kung saan may effect ito sa investment income ni investor. Ito po ang ating solutions sa ating practice questions. Ano ba ang mga adjustments na meron siyang effect sa ating mga accounts na investment in associates at investment income? Pag-aralan natin.